Welcome to the Growth Execution Podcast. We are here every week to talk with entrepreneurs, growth leaders, people who've been where you are and have helped to grow their businesses and to grow them fast. I'm delighted to be joined this week by Marcia Riner of Trajectory Consulting, if I can say that properly. How are you, Marcia?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Excellent. Really good to have you on, and thanks so much for making time. Now, as you know, what we really focus on here, particularly in this season, which is the third of the Growth Execution Podcast, is around launch. So I wonder if you wouldn't mind just sharing with us the moment that it all sort of came together as this is what I need to do. This is why I need to launch this business. How was that moment for you?
Well, it's funny that you said this, and I kind of looked back and started to think about this. Most of us get into business because we don't like to conform with the owners and the bosses that we've had in the past. Maybe we don't want to follow those rules, or we don't like to be told, or in my case, we saw how to do something better. And, after hitting the wall with the previous employers and trying to say, look, this way's better. Our clients like it. I feel more comfortable doing it. So, I think that was the shift for me when I finally just said, all right, I'm done. I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm not going to, try and do things the way that you want them in the old fashioned way. So just a little bit of history. I came out of the financial services industry. So selling stocks and mutual funds and life insurance and mostly products. And I wholeheartedly believed that if you made a plan, and I'd gone through all the education to become a certified financial planner, if you make the plan properly, it will sell the products. And every business owner I worked for said, no, sell the products and do the plan as an auxiliary, And I just didn't feel comfortable with that. Nobody wants to be sold. So that was my big, I'm done. I'm going this way now.
And did you get that that kind of almost constraint? Was that sort of like a feature of the industry kind of at large, and that was almost you sort of stuck out a little bit as somebody who didn't conform to that?
Yeah, I always used to tell people I live in this little square box with brown paper around it, duct tape, twine, and a couple of air holes, because the financial service industry is so highly regulated, and you had to make sure that you were protecting the consumer from bad people that would sell them things that weren't right. And so, yeah, it was primarily industry driven that, you had to do things by the rules. And I'm one of those that kind of straddles the line and wants to lean over here, and it just didn't work.
Didn't quite work out. No, brilliant. And I guess that right now, particularly early 2021, pandemic's still going on. There's a lot of people out there who perhaps are looking around and thinking about their own sort of circumstances, and thinking that actually, this is a spur for them to move out and to go it alone. What would be your sort of advice to them?
Well, you know what? I always say business is hard. If business was easy, then everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be self-employed. Business is hard. You have to have the strength to be able to work long hours for less than minimum wage, and to get the engine moving. I would say go for it, yes, because if you're passionate about what you do, that's what's going to keep the lights on inside, the fire burning inside of you. But make sure you have some resources. There's going to be times that you're not going to get paid for a long time. There's still going to be bills that need to be paid. So try and have some resources, some savings, some lines of credit, family support. Don't sell your soul to start the business, but really, if you're going to do it, put some stuff off to the side and figure out, how can I do this for the next year and eating, noodles and ramen and, not going out and really just putting all your energy, effort, and money into growing your business or getting your business started? Because what do they say? Something like 70% of the businesses fail within the first couple of years. I know that's not the accurate number, but it's pretty darn high. And only a few set of businesses survive. So you gotta have you gotta have some financial backing, and you gotta have the heart. You gotta know that this is the right path for you and be passionate about it.
That's right, and I know a lot of the work that you do is around sort of the plan side of things, and actually, making sure that, it's not just this sort of haphazard sort of hope that everything goes together. What do you think is sort of a critical first step in a plan for a budding entrepreneur? You've said about having some resources behind you, and obviously that's important. But actually, when they're sitting there going, look, I know what I kind of want to do. I know my passion. How do they go about turning that into reality, into something that they can make into a business?
That's a good question. You really should have that financial foundation, so you can make it. So I would say that's your first piece, is make sure you have enough money to keep the lights on for 6 months or so. And then I think what you really want to do is the purpose of business. And I can't remember who said this. I love these quotes, and I can never remember who quoted who.
They become so much part of our lives, don't they?
So there's this quote that said the purpose of business is to acquire customers. So you have to acquire customers. So in order to acquire customers, you have to have a product that people want to buy, that people really want to buy. And so, it takes a little bit of research to be able to figure out, okay, who is my ideal client and what is their number one problem that I'm going to be able to solve? And how urgent is it for that person to solve that problem? And so successful businesses that really get that trajectory and they go, is they found that sweet spot of, oh my gosh, my client has this problem and I have the perfect solution. And even more important, it's so painful or uncomfortable for my client or so necessary for my client that he's willing to pay me to make it better. And that's it. So if you have a new widget, or if you have a smoother writing pen, or if you have a new light that's the same but better because it uses less, then that's not going to be that thing. Steve Larson, a guy I follow, he's a network or an online marketing guy, says that if you go into a space that everybody's in, he calls it the red ocean, and if you can imagine, there's all sorts of sharks eating everybody else's sharks, so it's a bloody ocean. It's like everybody's out there.
Love that image.
Yeah, no, it's not a pretty image, but that's what it is. And he says, go after the blue ocean where nobody's there. Be first into it, or have something different. And then one of my coaches says that if you can convince them that your solution is better and newer or different, and the only way to solve that problem is through your solution, then they're going to have to give you money.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important, is find that thing that they absolutely need. Yeah, that takes some research.
For sure. And I think as well, when you're talking about that sort of separation from the herd or the bloody ocean, is very much around sort of trying to find you can be number one in a very small market or a smaller market than trying to be, a significant player in a market that's already quite mature. And I spend a lot of time as well with clients just thinking, right, how can you own a bit of online real estate or whatever it is, a phrase, a word that just really kind of resonates with what you do.
And you can go into a red ocean type place if your solution is so much better than everybody else, but then you have to convince them. So you're an Amazon seller as an example, and you're selling stuff on there. How do you differentiate yourself back to your line? how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else that's selling that same stuff?
Yeah.
It's too hard. You have to really have something unique and, new and improved, and the only way.
Yeah, exactly. Something that really, really stands out. And you spoke very eloquently about the idea of it being sort of the people that you want to serve. That's a really kind of key driver for you. Do you recommend that people have the problem themselves, or have had the problem themselves, or that they can observe it from distance? Is there a particular, does it feel more real if they're doing it themselves, if they've had that issue?
All the coaches out there, all the people that are telling you how to sell, say, sell from your own experiences. I've been there, and I've peaked the mountain, and I came out on the other side, and now I'm rich and famous and great. And that's great if that's been your story, but it's not always going to be your story. And you have to be authentic, but I think, yeah, if you can tell a story when you're giving your presentation of, hey, I've been through this, and I had the same challenges as you did, and I hit this wall, and when I got onto the other side, because I had this big epiphany, I was better, and I found the solution. And that's usually a great story, but it's kind of hard if you haven't been there. But you can use other people's examples. You can tell stories about, hey, remember in that movie that this happened, or I had clients that this happened to. So you can tell stories with other people's stories.
Yeah, and I do think the narrative and kind of, as you say, authenticity is absolutely critical. You've got to be believable, and you've got to know your thing, but also being able to weave stories around your experience and or indeed that of others, or to refer it to a like situation. So this is like that, but something else, I think is absolutely critical too. And when you look back at your career, and I know you've run businesses in the past as well, do you have any kind of sort of go-to memories that inform how you come across to other businesses, and how you help other business owners to understand what some troubles might be for them?
Well, it's I looked back at both my parents were business owners. Dad ran a car dealership, mom ran a mortgage company, and as their businesses started to wind close, and I was getting into business on myself, I saw all the problems that they had, and had they had known this, they could have overcome that. And then, so I used those experiences in my business. Dad ran his business without knowing his numbers. He really was just like singular blinded, sell a car, pay bills, but then he really didn't know what his cost was on that car, how to manage the car that was sitting on his lot, and paying the salesperson and the expenses that he had to run in. And so he just looked at his checkbook and said, oh, I got some money in the account, so I'm good. But not looking at what the cost and so on had. Mom, on the other hand, she ran a very forward-thinking business. She was a planner, but she was very reactive. And so she would be constantly putting out fires. She had great ideas and plans, but she was always letting the business run her. Right. And not taking control over the business and leading it to where it needs to go. And she ended up closing her doors, when she could have sold her business for literally $1 million at the height. She said, I'm not ready to retire yet, turned it down. And, 2008 happened, and 2010 or 11, she ended up closing her doors with a copier and some office furniture as the end result. So, understanding the cycles of business and how things move, and being able to control the business, I take those pieces to heart and try and get my clients and people that I talk with to manage their numbers and their finances, and understanding the pieces of their business, but even more importantly, to control what you can control, and lead the business in the direction you want, with instead of having it be very reactive and, then getting a little bit of that life balance of like weekends off. I jokingly say, we as business owners have the luxury to choose which 100 hours we want to work each week.
Very good, yes. Which nights we're not going to sleep.
Right, which happens. You eat, sleep, and drink this stuff, and you're always going, and you're out with the kids, and you're at the game, or you're with your spouse having dinner, and you're thinking about your business.
Yeah.
You gotta have that control over it, so it's not running you.
Brilliant. And I think obviously those lessons have been seared into your memory and are part of your own story as well. Do you have something that if you look back to when you launched, you would have told yourself and you think would have been the key kind of piece of advice that you would have given yourself back in the day?
Of course. Holy cow. So when I launched, it was a reactionary launch, right? So I was just done. I hated my manager. I wasn't totally ready to go. And I just did one of these, up, go, I'm gone, I'm out.
Slam the door.
Slam the door. And then it was like, okay, I probably should have had a plan, and so I think that was the piece, as a planner, I probably should have thought a few things through a little bit more proper and had the momentum going as I left. So I think that's it. Before you take the leap and jump off the cliff without the parachute, have a few things in the engine going, have the momentum going, have a few clients in the pipeline, have your product developed while you're still doing something. Most of my clients are service-based. So attorneys, chiropractors, CPAs, these are people that are doing a service that they don't necessarily have a widget. So easier to launch a business, but nevertheless still challenging. So I would say, the thing I wish is that I had just had a little more pre-planning
done. Time between that door closing and you actually having to do something else. Right?
Yeah, because it was the jump off the cliff and going, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't have done that quite so fast.
On the way down.
On the way down.
Brilliant. And do you have in your mind a sort of inspirational figure, somebody that you think you look around, maybe in business, maybe elsewhere, who's really sort of inspired you to be as successful as you are?
There's been several people. There's always phases in your life as you start to learn something new. And I think the biggest investment that you as a business owner can give yourself is, training and coaching and constantly learning what's new and what's the best. So I had a lady that left my world and went into her old world, and I followed her for a year. Then I learned so much from her, and she gave me so much insight and just the path that I wanted to take. Then I outgrew her. So I found another person, and I followed that person for a little while, and then eventually I outgrew them, which is exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And now I'm following this little Mormon kid, I say, because he's younger than me, Russell Brunson, and he runs a company called ClickFunnels. And ClickFunnels is an online marketing piece, because I'm a business planner. But if you're not marketing your business, you don't have a business. So I'm a marketing geek by interest. And so I've been following Russell for the last year and a half, and he has really given me a lot of the frameworks and pieces and tools I need to improve my business as well as my clients' business. So I share what I learn with my clients, and it's been a huge transformation.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about ClickFunnels, actually. I think Russell in particular. Yeah, it seems to be a very, very inspirational.
He's a pretty brilliant guy. I mean, just, It's
always good to have those guys around to follow on from. And you mentioned marketing and the kind of, without marketing, you don't have a business. Obviously, we obsess here in Grocery, product marketing and sales. Do you have a view? Is there one that's more important than the other of product marketing or sales?
Well, I think it's the chicken or the egg kind of thing. What comes first? You have to have a vision. So maybe not a product, but you have to have a vision of what you want to do. And you have to tell people about it, which is the marketing piece. So you have to be able to communicate your vision and get people to sign up on your vision, which is the sale. And then the funny thing about it is you can now, once you have, because you've created a vision on the product and you've told the story about it and you've got people to buy in on it, which is the sale, now you can go back and build the product. So it's, in my vision, you don't have to have it all built and in place, because it may not be the right thing for the consumer. Yes. When you have it built, now you have to go back and fix it. But you should have a vision or framework or foundation of what it is that you want to do. And when people buy it from you, like on a pre-sale, oftentimes you sell your book before it's even printed, right? Yeah. Then you go back and print the book and put it all in pieces and try it out on them. And then you'll probably come back and do version 2 because you tried it out on them and realized you missed a gap or a piece, or they wanted more of this. Then you keep evolving it. So there's no linear to that kind of.
I think that's right. And I think that when I see skilled entrepreneurs at work, it is that ability to kind of internalize both ends, as you say, the feedback from the customer to improve the product, but the strength of character and of a belief in the product, to know that even if people say that they want this change, to know which bits are they to keep, because that's really kind of at the heart of it as well, right? You've got to know what you're doing and believe why you're out there making a difference. Listen, Marcia, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. We always ask as people leaving, so what else have you got on today?
Oh, well, I'm actually launching a new program, and it's not quite ready to hit the ground running in full speed yet, but I'll share my own vision and tell you that, I can offer you the product even though it's not completely ready to launch yet. So I'll do that kind of piece there. But my program is called Thriving Profit Method. And you'll have the link in the pieces here, but you can always get that at thrivingprofit.com. And I'm a super share giver. Most of my clients work with me and they're like, wow, because I just give so much, and we go down and really fill in those gaps that they have that, as business owners, you often can't see the forest through the trees. And so having my sideline views of this and the up, looking down views, I can fill those gaps and find the pieces that they're missing and then carry them along, so they know what they're doing. So this Thriving Profit program is actually going to be that foundational piece to get people to plan and put the pieces in place so their business can be thriving. They can take control over it and stop being reactive and be, immensely profitable in it.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I'm so grateful for your time. Everybody do have a look at thrivingprofit.com. Marcia, it's been great. Thanks once more, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Excellent. Thanks so much.